And then to Martina. So Martina has explored the health and the creativity benefits of walking meetings, and you liken this to the walk with me scenario that's used in the White House, where someone needs to accompany the president as they're doing thinking and conversations. I think we can, a lot of us identify with this. I know we've got some big advocates of the walking meeting on the call today. So Martina, without further ado, please do share with us the concepts from your book. Thank you.
Sure. Hi,
I would love to.
and I'm the person who invited Martine because I speak Dutch and I can read Dutch, so that's. But Martine and myself go back 3.5 years. There was a outdoor office day in Utrecht, I think it's 2018, at which point in time we were brought together and we hit it off very nicely. Then I got wind of the fact that Martine was doing an MBA thesis as part of her doctoral degree, I think, at the Nijenrode Universiteit on the public-private space, which was extremely comprehensive and therefore would, I would say, kill off any tire kickers. But then I was mega surprised that somewhere in November, her book came out about weeding, which is so actionable that I felt that we had to share the essence of that here today. So, I mean, a couple of things I retained from the book. Number one, it's absolutely clear that thanks to the pandemic, or due to the pandemic, that there is less movement happening, which is going backwards, number one. Number two, that although we heard it from Nigel, that a proper landscaping office is progress, there is also a thing called landscaping outdoors that we need to leverage, and that's what we're going to talk about. Also, the benefits of walking meetings are enormous. The enumeration that you have in the book is fantastic. And then you say to all the people immediately, by the way, if you're just gonna go for a walk at lunchtime, that doesn't count. But I'm going to start off with one question to get going, Martine, for all of us to answer, is what is the scientific evidence on the goodness of meetings?
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows that walking is good for health. We don't need to dwell on that. And we also know that health is good for productive people. There has been some amount of research to meetings or to walking meetings coming up, but I mainly go to what it does to your brain to move. And when I started researching, actually back from 8 years ago or so, when I got this idea, we should do this much more. I was going in the brain because the brain is so important, of course, for people to be productive. And what was surprising to me is that it's not really known that sitting is so bad for people, not only for health, but also for just functioning during the day. Of course, there are some campaigns to make people stand up or have a standing meeting, but that doesn't make the blood really flow. And we need blood in the brain, and we need oxygen, we need glucose to have it function and to get the reptilian part of the brain less present. We need the mammal, so to say, and even more, we need the human part of the brain, the neocortex. And when you just go for a walk, it's coming back to you.
Yeah, I entirely agree. I have it more and more often that during the morning or the afternoon, I feel that my cognitive capability is declining and that I just absolutely need to get out to just exercise my limbs and in doing so get a fresh blood going to my brain. So I entirely agree. Now,
so if I can add to that, because there has been some research about creativity, and I think everybody has the experience that when you move, when you walk, you get better ideas. And that is one thing that's really working as well. There's been research at Stanford, and it went up to 60% more unique ideas when you use the walking. So that must convince, I think, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so on the topic of meetings, which stands for walking meetings, can you quickly explain to us what are the essential components of meetings?
Yeah. So what you do is obviously you go for a walk. You take your meeting outside, And what you do is you use the space for your sense of time. You use the walking together for a better connection in the meeting and a better conversation. And you also use when you have a specific amount of time, like half an hour, you use a route from 1.8 kilometers to have this half hour as productive as possible. And you have some time for notes. And you don't have to worry, am I back on time? Because that's one of the main things people are always asking. Oh, you go outside and then you go off topic and you have a lot of conversations, but not the one you plan to. But no, I made 7 meeting formats, and you can really use them to make the meeting productive. I think everybody has this experience that you go together with someone to a meeting, and you have, so to say, 5 minutes to arrive, and then you're really productive and really on topic, exchanging what you have to prepare for this meeting. And this also happens when you go on a walking meeting on a specific route for a specific time, and you see the office coming back and you think, we need to make conclusions now. One of the basic formats for meetings are actually quite simple. You have a point on the route. When you pass that, okay, we have to be clear about the goals at this point. Then halfway, you check, are we doing what we wanted to do? Or do we have to go back on topic or think of what do we have to do in the second half of the meeting? Yeah. And then some point before the office or wherever you left for this meeting, you start concluding. So that's a basic format that works really well, but there are many other formats. And I learned past years that everybody really needs his own way of dealing with the meeting formats, but they really help to make it productive.
Yeah. Hey, so I liked your quote in the book that it's not about the quantity of time, but the quality of time. And I've done myself, I would say, performance reviews with people walking for an hour and a half, being afraid that I wouldn't have the essence of the meeting because I couldn't do any note taking. I was surprised when I took my notes straight after that the quality and the density of the meeting was much higher than ever before. And my memory actually was functioning better in capturing the essence of it. Now, I was thinking before we got to this side, I feel that weeding is a practice, right? It's comprehensive in the aspects of it. It's also a discipline, right? This is about structured, respectful use of other people's time. And therefore, for me, it should become a new ritual of people. Yeah, and it's not limited to the working life, but we'll come to that later on. The next question I would like to ask is, you've done a lot of trials with people. You have a big following in the Netherlands, yeah? And I'm sure that you go through the same kind of, I would say, routines, and people will be asking you 2 things, like, what is it that I really need to do? And then they will have a bunch of objections. I can't do it because of this or that. What are the do's and the don'ts of meetings?
Yeah, well, when you invite someone, it's always good to really make clear of your intention. So it's, there are people you could surprise. Let's go outside. Many people don't like that. You just have to tell them in advance and maybe even ask the question. So do you agree? We do this walking. That's one thing. Then it's important to think about the amount of people that suits the place where you're going to walk. So obviously you will not be walking with 6 people outside when you can't even hear each other talking. So in main places, 2 or 3 is the maximum. If you have a bigger group, you split up. So, but there are a lot of formats that are really very good as well. People always start about the rain. That maybe it's not so surprising living in the Netherlands, but actually it's not raining a lot. It's like 7.5% of the time. And so that's not really a good reason. There is a chance that it rains, but it's really not happening a lot. But you have to support people in know what to do. So they don't have to be afraid that you will push them in the rain when you invite them.
Yeah, and then the other objection is also that people are saying, sorry, but I can't take notes. What's your objection handling against that?
Yeah, well, I have 8 ways how you can deal with notes. I have written in the book all the options. A simple one is just you reserve some time at the end and stand together and make a conclusion about the meeting and then write that.
Yep.
And then it will be better than all this writing you do sometimes during meetings all the time and not making the essence of the meeting.
Yep.
This is one thing. But what you also can do is just record it, of course. You can also use your phone and speak to it, and it will present your words. There's now even an app, it's called Spot, that is especially designed for walking meetings remote. So you can, and what you can do is you say Spot fetch that, and he will record the last, I believe, 60 seconds of what you said. So when you're walking and you say something brilliant, you say fetch that, and it will record. It will be written when you come back, or you see it in your screen. Yeah,
Spot.
That's cool. But actually, mainly you can really deal with just when you think I have to get this one, and just stop and make a note in a notebook. It's really simple.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, so the book also has an entire chapter on the various types of meetings. There's far too many for us to cover. Can you give us the big classes of types of meetings that people feel are very useful for meetings?
Yeah. Well, I use the taxonomy of meetings that Elise Keith has described in her book. And the first one is the recurring meetings you have in any organization. And of course, the one-on-one is a very good one to start with.
Yep.
But you also have team meetings, and you have a lot of meetings that are coming back, and they are good to start because people get used to it. So you don't have to educate everybody. Then the second one is also close by what people can imagine. That's the brainstorming, the creativity, the workshops. You can use meeting very well in that one. And the third is about educating and learning. And for instance, I did a lecture of 3 hours outside with 20 students, learning them how to use it to talk about the lecture together, and to learn more than you would be sitting 20 people looking at one person telling you something. So the big classes are the recurring ones, the workshop-like meetings, and the more educating and training part.
Yeah. So I remember that it's almost 2 years ago that you and I were planning to provoke some change in big events like South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, which is a fantastic event, but it's just all indoors in a city which has 260 days of sunshine. And you say, what the heck are we doing being in conventions all day long? What is the remedy for all these convention organizers which are now having a very difficult time in the Corona times?
Well, there's one, I've been very stubborn at one specific convention that comes back every year. It's about cities in the Netherlands. And I have now in this the standard scheme, the workshop. So you can easily have loads of interesting workshops where you go together with a big group and gain a lot of different insights that you would never do. So you can, it's not that you have to be walking or liking doing a mountain expedition. It's not like that. You can also use it for like half an hour or an hour. And of course, you can also do lunch breaks, but that's not what we're talking about here. But during these events, the networking is, of course, very important. People really come for networking. And that's also a very good one to use.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, getting to know people, working side by side without getting too much into the privacy boundaries is a very important one. Martina, the clock is ticking. I am going to jump straight to my final question. Yeah. So like all these things, this is all about people are getting fascinated with the idea. I'm going to love it. I'm going to do it. They do it 1 or 2 times and then they go back to the old routine. So change management, taking this into a habit is very important. And you devote an entire, I would say, chapter on the topic of getting this great idea into something that becomes a ritual or a habit. What are the key elements there?
Yeah, we have to make a difference between individually, you as an individual, how can you give it a place in your work week, and for organizations. And many people will never do it when the organization is not doing it. So
correct.
Maybe only like 5% of the people are autonomous enough to do it when the organization isn't supporting it. So this supporting is really important at all management levels. So not only the CEO, also the middle manager, and also all managers below. They need to say, take it by heart, and inviting people themselves.
Yep.
Then for you personally, it's good to have one recurring meeting like that you have once a week or once a month or once in 2 weeks that you would do walking by default.
Yep.
So then you get sort of a routine about it and maybe more confident about it. You can tell people about your own experience that you like. Yep. And well, I can say a lot about it more. But what I think is every office needs a meeting point. So it's a meeting point, but then for meetings with a map of the environment where you can have different lengths of meetings. And what's also nice is that when you enter this building, you see instantly that this organization is supporting going outside and looking at it as work. And I also of course like Nigel's statement about people as animals, and I think we as animals really need to go outside.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Hey, so, and you make references to people that have been successful in their lives. At least many people think it, like Mr. Steve Jobs and also Barack Obama. These are not, I would say, small people. I mean, they have shown to do that with great, and they've been quoted often. Martine, I'm going to let you to it for now. You're not going to leave us because we're going to have some further questions coming in later on. But thank you ever so much, and congratulations with the book. It's absolutely fantastic. For those people that want to have my personal English summary in a couple of slides, you can have that too. But I encourage Martine to make sure that the English version and other languages is in the not too distant future. Thank you very much, Martine.
Yeah. And I would really like, if people are interested in an English version, I make a list so I can send an email when it's going to be there.
Fantastic. That's good. Thank you.